My sim rig no longer has a monitor because it's over here. I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I think I've done something pretty clever that has saved me hundreds of pounds and could do the same for you. Now I'm sure that this isn't an original thought, but I have not seen it anywhere else yet, so I'm here to show it to you. So what I've basically done is taken the 34-inch ultrawide that was permanently fixed to my sim racing rig and made it quick release via the help of these quick monitor mounts. What this has allowed me to do is basically really easily unhook my monitor from my rig to the desk and vice versa again. That means I can use that big, nice 34-inch ultrawide on both locations. I don't have to buy an extra monitor to do it, and I don't have to put up with a small monitor on one and a big monitor on the other because I don't want to spend the money to do that. So whenever I'm going from the work desk to the sim rig, this is now what I do. I just get up, I unplug the monitor, power and HDMI, I unplug that, and then I unhook it, I bring it over to the sim rig, I line it up with its monitor mount, slot it in, and then I plug in the power and a display port. And in honesty, this is the only bit that's really kind of annoying, but that's it, there you go. And then when I'm done with the racing, I'll just do the same thing but in reverse to go back to the work desk. So jump up, unplug the power and the display port, take the monitor out of its mount, and then slot it back into the desk handle. Doing the cables is the most annoying thing about this, and I'm sure I'll find a clever way to optimize it at some point. So how exactly does doing that save me a whole bunch of money? Well, it's pretty simple. The sim rig has had this 34-inch ultrawide on it for a while, but I'm only in the rig for a small portion of the time I do stuff. Meanwhile, on my actual work desk where I'm doing most of the productivity stuff, the video editing, pretty much everything else, I'm just using a 27-inch flat panel, which is fine, but I would always have loved to have had a much bigger screen to work with. So I kind of felt like at some point I was going to buy a second ultrawide monitor to go on here to kind of fill that gap. The main problem with that is that monitors cost money. This cost me 450 quid back in the day, this Samsung Odyssey G5 34-inch ultrawide. That's a lot of money to be podding out just to have a little bit of extra space on my work desk. So the cost of achieving what I've done would be as follows. And in order to achieve what you see here, you'll need two of these quick monitor mounts. This version is from GT Omega with the red anodized metal bits. This costs £25 each, or you can get a pack of 3 for 60 quid. You can knock a couple of quid off with discount code Danny Lee on GT Omega. I know it's not loads, but still something. So GT Omega's version is slightly cheaper than SimLab's version. SimLab, I think, were the originators of this idea because they've got a patent pending, but theirs comes in blue and it's £34 each or 78 quid for a pack of 3, but they're almost identical in the way they function. What's really important is the fact that they have an open top groove that you can just slot it into. Without the ability to just do that, this idea would not work. It wouldn't be convenient or quick, so it has to be able to just drop in. So here's where the first quick monitor mount receiver is bolted to, onto the single monitor mount from a GT Omega Prime rig. This is how it's supposed to be used, really. This is a normal layout, so you just bolt it onto the top section of aluminium profile, and the receiver sort of groove there awaits you to put your monitor into it. And this is what the receiver is bolted to on the other end. This is a monitor stand that I've essentially knocked up out of aluminium profile from bits left over from my Prime Light rig. But you could easily make something out of DIY with this. All you really need is for something that these two bolts can hook onto. Just a lip, just a bar across there. So it looks a bit more elaborate than it really needs to be, but it's just what I have to hand. So these small profile links are from the monitor mount, and these brackets are from the GT Omega Prime's original pedal mount brackets. But you could easily get the spares that you need for this and it wouldn't cost a bomb. So that's what the other quick monitor mount receiver is bolted onto. And this is how the Visa mount looks on the back of a monitor. So you've got the bar that slots into the groove on the receiver, and it will get a bit scratched up here because it meets with that little adjustment bolt there. But on a whole, it's a very nice and compact little Visa mount with some clever little bits on it. Now, what normally happens whenever I try something that I think is a bit innovative or out of left field, I'm normally punished for it in an unexpected way. So despite the fact that I can slot the monitor in without having to then screw it up afterwards, it is literally just drop in and go. I wondered maybe it would wobble more than when it was in fixed place and bolted down, but it doesn't. I cannot tell the difference physically by eye. When I'm driving, I cannot tell the difference between now and when it was bolted in properly using the fixed monitor mount. So in that regard, I'm really relieved that I haven't been I haven't duped myself into a dead end by doing that. For all intents and purposes, if I didn't know that that quick monitor mount was behind there, I would assume that this was just an ordinary bolted down standard single monitor mount, because there's no wobble, there's no nothing that I can perceive whilst driving. So as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to practically being a good monitor mount, you know, normally you trade convenience for practicality, or you trade convenience for it just not being quite as solid. But here, I've got no complaints at all. But where I think that my solution could be really, really helpful and save people a lot of money is, let's imagine you've got a decent gaming setup right now with a nice big, high refresh rate, high spec monitor, and you want to get into sim racing. If you do what I've done here, then you no longer have to buy a monitor for your sim rig. You can just use the one you already have. You'll have to add the quick monitor mounts to your existing monitor, but doing that will cost £100 maximum. The absolute maximum it would take is about 100 quid. That's a lot cheaper than buying a whole new monitor that's good enough for sim racing. But anyway, I thought that I came up with a pretty clever solution to my own problem. It saved me hundreds of pounds. It could save you a lot of money as well, or somebody that you know who's just starting out. So if you think I'm a genius, then like, subscribe, and I'm gonna go put the kettle on, make a cup of tea in celebration of my intellect. Cheers.